Bases dropped on Thursday Thoughts here on SDH. Sorry about 906. I was typing an email. Got some things to talk about this morning. Obviously, the preeminent thing for today and tomorrow is your best ofs morning ropes. Morning from ODU. Okay, cool. We'll talk about what happened yesterday with Everton. We'll go over festive fixtures, get you ready for today. Nothing tomorrow in the Prem. So this has been kind of like the week of Premen proper. So we'll go over what happened yesterday, get you ready for today, juice boxes, what to watch, where to watch it, all those kinds of things. We do have some updated stuff with Atlanta United. Santi Sosa looks like that's going to be a loan with an option to buy if you trust the sources in South America. So we'll get into that, and we'll look at the roster once again, lay everything out. Kefsey, Everton were robbed. Like I said, we'll get into it with the handball and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Bart is going to be busy on Monday, on a Tuesday next week. And we'll get into handball and what is a handball, and Sean Dyche thinking that the rules are confusing and all this kind of stuff. So we'll get into that coming up in a little bit. Also, once again, your thoughts on 2023, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, overachieving, underachieving, favorite moments, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, that's today and tomorrow. So I've asked you to put your thinking cap on all week. That's going to continue. So whatever pops into your head, and we can discuss it here coming off the Twitch pitch and onto the show. Hopefully, if Nico is up and around, we'll catch up with Nico at 10:30 Eastern time and get his last thoughts on 2023. Remember, no thoughts on 2024 until Monday on a Tuesday and beyond. We're not gonna look in the crystal ball until we get to Tuesday. So Monday, once again, soccer over there marathon to get you through your Monday, and then Tuesday we're back to normal with stuff. Later today and tomorrow, we're catching up with our friends at UConn because of the draft with Atlanta United. It looks like we're going to be catching up with Sonny D'Alessandro, the owner of Tulsa Athletic, find out what it's like to be a champion in the NPSL. And what was the other one? There's another one that's in there somewhere. Anyway, we got stuff. We're going to have 1v1s, and we'll have those later this week. So, oh no, sorry, that was college football. But yeah, we are going to have some 1v1s that'll be later on in the week and in the afternoon. Yes, Kefsey, we are getting into that rumor, and contributor Niall, yes, we are getting into the rumors. So we will be discussing that rumor coming up in short order. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code for those of you who are watching on the video version, either on the YouTubes, on the Twitch, or on the 280-character app. And don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. They in turn take they'll give you 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10% reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay. First off, now that I'm back in Office HD, I'm hoping that the signal's a lot better. No more suffering with the buffering, as Hutch told us earlier in the week. So hoping that the signal is back to where we enjoy it being crisp and clear and ready to broadcast and all that kind of stuff. So shout out to Abby for the holiday greeting. We received the holiday envelope. And shout out to Domer once again. I don't know if he caught it the first time, but when it's the holiday season and it's like 12 degrees outside, and this is where I give Domer a lot of credit. Domer, regardless of conditions, 12 degrees, freezing, you hop in your car first thing in the morning. Domer brought by some more of his homemade sauce, which the boss just absolutely is to die for. Drops it off on the front stoop. So full credit to Domer once again for dropping by Domer Sauce and now that we are back home, we get the chance to use it as we're more in tuned to using. So shout out to Domer for the Domer sauce, and shout out to Abby for the holiday envelope. So there you go. So all right, Mary Neum. The odd week, Mary. Okay, so all right, so you guys are. I do want to talk about what's going on at Paris FC, but since we have the rumor, we'll talk about it first. So that was an abbreviated opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code. Once again, for those of you who are watching on the Twitch, the YouTube channel, or on the 280 character app, don't forget to use the code Soccer Down Here 15. They in turn take 10%. Reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So the kickoff was thanking Abby for the holiday envelope and thanking Domer for this year's round of Domer sauce. Okay. Thomas Lodarchek. This is our gossip, rumor, and innuendo part. As we're getting close to January, the January window, you figure business will pick up. So Jarrett had it in our production chain, and contributor Niall posted it in the Twitch pitch. So we got to check on it. Now, according to our friends in Poland, people, Bartosz Szliz, two specific offers, Atlanta United and Lecce. Legia Warsaw has already received offers, several scenarios for the transfer. Now, for those of us who are just becoming acquainted with Tomas Lodarchek, 165,000 followers, almost 166. So safe to say that this is probably something akin to a tier 1 source. And he works for Mekshi. Yes, translate Polish to English, please. Thank you. So, and this is a Mekshi story, Mekshi.pl. So, it's coming from Poland. I'm going to post the link to the story in the Twitch pitch. Kefsi says that Szliz is very consistent per SofaScore. So, according to our friends at Vekshiki, all right, Bartosz Szliz from Legia Warsaw. Question: will Bartosz Szliz be a Legia Warsaw player in the spring? It is possible that the midfielder will leave the club in the winter. 2 offers were received for him from foreign leagues. And like I said, this is Google translated, so please bear with me. Right now, Legia Warsaw is 5th in the Ekstraklasa, behind Wrocław, Jagiellonica, Lech Poznan, and Raków Częstochowa. So that's where we are. They're 5th in the table, but a point out of 3rd. Wrocław and Jagiellonica have so far in the table they've kind of distanced themselves. So Lech Poznan, Raków Częstochowa, and Legia Warsaw are all within a point of each other at 3, 4, and 5. Szliz has long been of interest to teams from outside Poland. Trabzonspor wanted him in the summer. Now, other directions come into play. As we found out, Legia has already received 2 offers for the midfielder. The first comes from MLS Atlanta United, and the second from Serie A in Lecce. Szliz is closer to the USA. Atlanta's emissaries even went to his matches in European Cup. Proposals amount to approximately €2 million. And once again, this is from a Lodarchek. For the 24-year-old, you can probably get an amount of around €2.5 million. His contract expires in a year, and he's ready to leave. However, it is not known whether Legia will let him go in the winter. The club must decide whether to do it by earning real money now or to use it to compete in the Conference League and the Ekstraklasa. Jacek Zielinski, sporting director of the Capital, mentioned such a scenario. In such a situation, Schlie's could sign a contract with any team in the summer. This season, midfielder's already played 33 matches for Legia, over 2,600 minutes. Been playing in Warsaw since February of 2020. Previously, he represented Rybnik and Żaklebie Lubin. Sorry, I have very close friends and family that are Polish, and so I'm close. I'm closer probably than most folks when it comes to pronouncers. We talked about, and this is Mekshiki, they talked about Schlie's future in the transfer window program on the YouTube channel, and they posted that link there as well. And so if you can get Polish translated on YouTube, our friends at Mekshiki discussed Schlie's. Bartosz Szli's, Legia Warsaw, faces a big dilemma, 2 offers. So there you go. So you look at Legia Warsaw, you know that they have done work in the European leagues. So it is Bordeaux and Legia Warsaw, where Atlanta United seems to be looking right now for either center backs or for defensive midfielders. So keep an eye on Legia Warsaw as the window opens. Morning, Harry. Morning, Harry. Bart, now, Bart is a Mayo Bowl champ. Bart's back up and running this morning. Bart was in Charlotte watching the North Carolina defense, or what came to the field as a North Carolina defense, not able to stop a dual threat quarterback for West Virginia. So Bart is on a good morning. Bart is on a good morning. That's what happens when you thump North Carolina. So that's the latest. Morning, Harry. So everybody, Niles digging his profile. Kefsi, afar are the 23 rules, good, bad, and indifferent. So, Kefsi, if there's anything indifferent to discuss, then we can get into that as well. And there it is. So that's the early part. So keep an eye on somebody else so far. So numbers so far for our new friend, as we look at information, Bartosz Szli's. Szli's has an assist, averages 75 touches a match, 1 big chance created, 1 key pass, accuracy at about 88% in passing, in his own half at 92%, in the opposition half at 83%. 58% of his long balls are completed, 61% of chipped passes completed. Defending, averages just under 2 interceptions a match, tackle and a half a game, wins possession 0.4 per time. Balls recovered per match is 5 3/4. Almost averages 1 dribble past a match, 1.3 clearances. And the Extraklasse by competition, 7.22 and the average SOFA score rating at 7.16. So good on the ball, prioritizes that kind of a possession. So keep an eye on Bartosz Szli's, Legia Warsaw, 5th in the Ekstraklasa, but under the eye, on the magnifying glass of Atlanta United. So keep an eye on that. And remember, Legia Warsaw has also been in the European theater in competition. So you got to keep an eye on that as well. So Szli's knows what it's like to be in extra comps. And it looks like his year so far and what he can do with the ball as a defensive midfielder fits what Atlanta United is looking for. So our friends at Mekshiki feel it could be a €2.5 million deal. Steen Gregerson, when we were going over Steen Gregerson's numbers at that center back, looked like that was going to be 2. Market value of 1.8. So Bordeaux and Legia Warsaw. Bordeaux for Steen Gregerson. Legia Warsaw for our new best friend, Bartosz Szliz. So that's your gossip, rumor, and innuendo for the morning. How's that? So that's a Thursday. Once again, Europa Conference League for Legia Warsaw. Does Legia Warsaw pull the trigger? Do they need the money? Get that €2.5 million-ish figure. I don't mean that 2.5 as an ish figure. I mean 2.5 million, the range of €2.5 million for Bartosz Szliz. And we were looking at, I think, 2 for Steen Gregerson. So those are the 2 names that we're staring at. So keep an eye on the Ekstraklasse and Ligue 2. Welcome to silly season. We're not even there yet. Welcome to silly season. All these names kind of popping up. But once again, kicking the tires in markets where others are not. You zig while others zag. And Thomas Lodarczyk, with his hundreds of thousands of followers on the 280-character app, I would say he's a Tier 1 source. So we'll keep an eye on Szliz and Steen Gregerson as we get to Monday on a Tuesday and work our way forward. Welcome to the window, even though the window hasn't started yet. So Steen Gregerson at the back, defensive mid Bartosz Szliz, and you get Szliz to help out. And you're really looking at Szliz to be your more experienced defensive midfielder to help out with Jay Fortune, spelling Muyumba, that kind of a thing. So we'll keep an eye on that. So that is your initial that is your initial thoughts for the morning. Hutch, is it me, or have Atlanta United started focusing more on European players than those from South America? And here's the here's the thought here, and this is why we bring this up. Zig while others zag. Everyone flocks to particular parts of the world for players. Shiny object. Think of it that way. So the mere fact that everyone is chasing after players in South America, regardless of position, but I know that a lot of folks are focused on the attack. Everyone's going into a market. A market becomes saturated. So what you have to do is really sit there and look for players that fit what you're trying to accomplish, regardless of the geography involved. Everybody's going to South America. Everybody's trying to get that score. Everybody's trying to get the guy that does magic with the ball in possession, or you're trying to get a defender that can help you out. So what Atlanta United has been doing is going places that others are not. Atlanta United, we talked about it. Atlanta United went to France and went to the second division looking for players. And you've seen the results. You go to France, you go to the second division, Ligue 1, Ligue 2. And you've seen what Atlanta United has been able to do with their research, with that front office sitting there going, okay, we like this guy, and this guy, and this guy. You go to markets where there isn't a whole lot of demand. You're looking for players that fit you. You're not looking just because, let's go to Argentina, let's go to Brazil, let's go to Colombia and try and find players. No. Everybody's doing that. Why be in a long line of folks serving number 37 trying to find the right player when you can go back to Europe and sit there and go, let's go to France. We, our analytics and our research sit there and say that, we can look at a guy like Tristan Muyumba. Our analytics in Europe means that we can look at a guy like Shande Silva. While everyone else in the league is focused on South America because, for the obvious reasons, you zig while others zag. And I think the front office deserves a lot of credit for doing something like that. Everybody and the rest of their family is heading down to Central and South America looking for players. What do? You have the trust in your front office, the trust in the individuals that look at the analytics and look at the bio blast that you're chasing after, and you're looking at it regardless of the country. You're looking for studs in parts of the planet where others are not looking. You're finding that back in Europe, and you're finding it in lower divisions in Europe. So good on them for zigging while everybody else is sitting there and chasing after the trendy pick. Would you rather, if you're in a room and you're at the help desk at a department store and you're waiting for an answer, or you're waiting for wrapping, or you're waiting to have your gifts, looked after, or you got something on layaway and you're number 37, or you're number 2, or you're number 1, which would you rather? Would you rather sit there and be in the department store where everybody else is, and you're in customer service, and you're waiting for, somebody to answer your question about what you've got on layaway, or what you're picking up for delivery, or you're waiting to have your gifts wrapped, serving number 37? Or would you rather be in the department store that, not as many folks may know about? Would you rather be, serving number 2, and then you'll walk right up to the desk? Your weight is a lot less than everybody else. You can get your gift off layaway. You can pick it up. You can leave the store. You're in the parking lot. You're home. You're having lunch, while everybody else is chasing after, waiting for their package to be wrapped. They're in customer service, so they're waiting for their 65-inch TV in layaway, and they're sitting there going, man, I've been here forever. And that 65-inch TV that you got on layaway, it might be like the 35th in line, because a lot of other folks might be looking for TVs. You got the TV that you were looking for. Everybody else is sitting there going, man, this TV's got some chips on the edges. It's got some. It's like, is there a chip here? Is something going on? The plastic's worn off of the face of the television. Is that a scratch on the monitor? Or you go to the other store, hey, number 2, man, this is a shiny looking TV. This looks fantastic. It's going to look great in my den. Atlanta United went to the department store and is going to the department store right now, where they're going to get the shiny TV that doesn't have any nicks or dings and doesn't have the plastic off of the monitor that's got a scratch on it. And you're sitting there going, man, these colors are out of whack. That's what happens when you're number 37. Right now, Atlanta United's chasing after things in a department store. They're number 2. They got the shiny TV. So that's where we are. Ekstraklasse and Ligue 2. Bartosz Szlies and Stian Gregerson. Do your research appropriately. And here I was, and I thought I was going to be talking about Santi Sosa being a loan option with a possibility of a buy. And we end up going down the window of Bartosz Szlies from Legia Warsaw and remind ourselves about Stian Gregerson. So that's your early thoughts. Let's see. All right. So what have you guys, what research have you done? Once again, remember this morning, initially this morning, before we had the rumor hit, it was all about the good, the bad, the indifferent, the ugly, overachiever, underachiever, all that stuff in 2023. Because I know our audience changes from day to day here on the live. So whatever thoughts you have about 2023, post them. We'll talk about them. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. Could be about your team, could be about somebody else's favorite team, could be about World Cup, whatever. We got that to talk about this morning. We got all the games from yesterday, and I know that folks are Bart, now that you're listening once again, when we have Monday on a Tuesday, the activity from the games yesterday will be discussed in Reffing Down Here. I'm letting you know right now because folks are fired up. Ropes. Everton hit the buzzsaw of City. The penalty was ARG. Thus, therefore, the penalty will be discussed. Sean Dyche actually said, and we'll go into this in a little bit, Sean Dyche said that the rules about the handball are confusing. Might be confusing written down, but please, 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 please know them going in on a game day. They might be confusing. Laws of the game may need to be changed, probably inverted, but know what they are going in. That's all I got to say. Hutch, with the word of the day, Marineum is a neologism, the odd week between Christmas and New Year. Yeah, this is an odd week. It's been an odd week, brother. I'll tell you that. Kefsey, good. The new signings, and this is local. Bad, the Open Cup performance, attendance, and indifference. Great. Yorgis, self-explanatory. And Kefsey doing research. Sleaze is very consistent, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. Niles digging the profile. Kefsey, Sleaze punched a 7 in the 3-2 Europa League win versus Villa, but lost possession 14 times. I think that's probably because of the pressure from Villa. Bart, adding another national team player will be interesting, seeing how MLS is forcing more teams to play through FIFA windows because of match congestion, in quotation marks. And apparently, Mayo picks have been going back and forth between Abby and Bart. And Abby, please stay as dry as humanly possible and as safe as possible and rainy in South Florida. And thank you for the holiday envelope, by the way. Kefsey, Emilio says it's a big world. Emilio digs this. Emilio used the word like. I use the word dig. Kefsey, Emilio's right. We should sign an Indonesian league striker. Well, Kefsey, I mean, if Indonesian league strikers, maybe from our friends at Chicken NFC, if they've got a dude that's lighting up the league that fits the philosophy of Atlanta United, then they're going to look. That's an interesting department store to go into, mind you, but you'd be first in line. If you got a dude lighting up a league and you think he's going to fit and you think that he's going to be okay drifting into Major League Soccer, that's what you're going to chase. Abby, did I hear correctly? Gressel's going to play with Messi and friends. It's been rumored. Nothing officially official. Let me check with Michelle Kaufman here on the 280 character app, and we will see if there is anything going on involving that particular gentleman and Messi and friends. Let's see. Looks like Michelle was taking some time off during the holidays. And yeah, her last post was the Luis Suarez post. So let me see if anyone else in South Florida is addressing that particular element. Let's see. As I'm killing time trying to figure out what's going on. Nothing officially official. So there is discussion about it dating back a week. Nothing officially official. Diego Mael Ibarra over at AS says that one of the champions of Major League Soccer, who surprisingly did not have as much activity towards the end of Columbus Crew's participation, very close to arriving at Messi and Friends for the 24 campaign, it's Gressel. As has already been announced in ASUSA Latino with information from The Athletic, he could be close to signing. Tommy Scoops and others, final stages at DRVP and K. But remember, if someone is still in contract, even if you sit there and say that they are not going to be a part of your plan, they are still technically under contract for another couple days. So much like we were discussing with Joseph yesterday, you can't really say anything because he's still under contract. You can link to folks. You can sit there and say, well, yeah, we think that it's going to be that way. But in reality, you can't say anything. Nothing can be officially official until things turn. And Julian Gressel is still under contract to Columbus through December 31st of 2023. So when we turn to Monday, that's when you probably are going to sit there and go, well, he's out the door. Technically still under contract, technically still under contract, even though he is without Club FC. You can't really sign anybody until, January 1st anyway. Much like Parente, Jake Morris, Brady Scott, Jimmy Madranda, and Josh Williams. So that's what you're staring at. So the larger question in this, where's he going to play? And how much is he going to play? That is the larger question. I mean, because he's not going to unseat. He's not going to unseat DeAndre Yedlin at right back. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So it'd be nice if Transfermarkt would behave and actually let me see what's going on. But the biggest question is, A, where's he going to play? No, Inter Miami CF. That's how you have it listed. Okay. So where's he going to play? How much is he going to play? And then the financial investment therein. If there is, and right now, soon, after December 31st, Victor Ulloa without Club FC. Joseph looks like he's heading to South America. The link right now is $5 million a year, 4.8. Dixon Arroyo, Jake LaCava heading to Charleston Battery. That's it for the 23s. They got a lot of folks whose contracts are ending in 24. But if Julian Gressel goes to Inter Miami, where's he going to play? Right-hand side? You're not gonna unseat the right wing. You're not going to unseat right back of DeAndre Yedlin. And last season, let me get his salary figure here. Last season, Julian Gressel made $884,000 base guaranteed compensation of $930,000. Is he going to fit in their cap? If he wants to be a part of Messi and Friends, I don't think he's going to come close to that $880 or the $930 or whatever. It's not going to be a $900,000 contract. It's not. But the larger questions with Julian Gressel, if he goes to Messi and Friends, are, where are you going to play? They're going to hand you a number. They're going to tell you, you ain't starting. You're going to have to come in and give me 30 and unseat Yedlin and schedule compression and all that kind of stuff. But, things officially official after January 1st. But those are the questions that you have right now involving Messi and Friends. Because what you're staring at, Quarantine Jean, Jordi Alba, Krivtsov, Jean Mota, Robert Taylor, Chris McVeigh, Stefanelli, Negri, who's injured, Robbie Robinson at left wing, CJ Dos Santos in net, Harvey Neville at right back. He'll be ahead of Harvey Neville. Ryan Saylor, Ian Frey, Noah Allen. I don't think you're going to play, if you wanted to invert Gressel and have him play a left back, I don't think you're going to play ahead of Noah Allen either. Lawson Sunderland, Cole Jensen. Those are your 24s. Messi technically is listed as a right winger. DeAndre Yedlin at right back. Messi, Busquets, Yedlin, Gregory, who's on the market, apparently, looking for a new home. Drake Callender, David Ruiz, Benja Kremoski, Kamal Miller, Facundo Farias, Diego Gomez, Thomas Aviles, Campana, and Santi Morales. That's what you're staring at right now. Players, contract years, availability. If, and it is a big if Julian Gressel is a part of Messi and Friends, it ain't going to be at $900 a year, and he ain't starting. So it's going to be up to Julian, if he wants to be a part of and Friends, to sit there and understand the role that Tata Martino is going to give him. Bottom line. You ain't beating out DeAndre Yedlin for a job. I don't think so. And especially because of the defensive issues that were exposed in the playoff series against Atlanta. There was a reason that Julian Gressel sat for most of the playoffs. The defensive issues that he has. And anytime he tried to dribble, if he tries to dribble inside or defend, that's 2 out of 3 things. It's the anti-Woody Hayes philosophy. He will be in there for one thing and one thing only. My guess is that if he signs, it'll be for the last 30 minutes and spot starts, and we need a goal, and you need to bomb in crosses. That's my guess. But nothing, Abby, officially official. And yes, Bart, I am talking about layaway this morning. I am dating myself with my references. That should not be a surprise. Pars. Philosophy's changed. Garth has already shown, and this is about the Sleaze and Gregerson pursuits, allegedly. Philosophy's changed. Garth has already shown he's more likely to sign more seasoned players over younger and prioritizes longevity with those players with smart contracts over short-term flair. Messi and Friends. And Abby says, yeah, that's exactly what he said he would do, straighten out the contracts. Kefsey, Santi will be missed. Always appreciate the good times, like absolutely destroying Chicharito and his golazo from the loose ball at the top of the box. There was also, I think, didn't he also send Blaise Matuidi into retirement with like one hip check in like his third game? Pars, I predict that even with the clear changes to the rules for 24, 2 minutes off, certain refs will take liberties with their implementation. Oh, absolutely. It's going to come down to interpretation with all of this stuff. All of this stuff. So keep an eye on it. Morning forecard. Forecard says Messi and Friends does not have a cap. Well, to your point, once again, with the rules of engagement involving Messi and Friends, it is how can we interpret the rules of engagement, and how can we sit there and it's like, okay, what can we do? And until Messi came to Major League Soccer, I think the last time it was the Beckham deal, where it's like, hey, here's your salary, but if you want to franchise later, here's the fee that you get to pay. Just even if the value of the franchises are $11 billion, all you got to do is pay 25 and you got a franchise. It's dealing with it in other ways. What we don't know are how the dealing with it in other ways apply to Alba, Busquets, Suarez, possibly Marcus Rojo, all of that stuff. We don't know how it applies there. So that it's all of the NIL and all of the creative ways to circumvent a salary cap. If it is an endorsement deal, it is not salary. This we have learned. And we probably should have understood it sooner. But once again, you have to think creatively here to bring in all of these big names until Major League Soccer addresses the salary cap issue. And I'm going to say that first, and then possibly the DP issue, adding a fourth or whatever. In this league, we know that there are owners who would be willing to spend the ever-loving daylights out of whatever they could invest if they knew it was going to get them a title. So you have to be imaginative. Endorsement deals are an imaginative way about going through things. I get it. Good on Messi and friends for figuring this out. Jorge Mas was voted, I think it was by The Athletic, as like the sports exec of the year or whatever. If it's anybody, it probably should be Beckham, considering Beckham would make this happen. Jorge Mas, all Jorge Mas is doing is going into his pants pocket, opening up his wallet, sitting there going, okay, hey, maybe Don Garber should be part of that discussion too. But yeah, Mas to me, no. Beckham, yeah. Chris Henderson, sure. For having to deal with all that stuff. Jorge Mas, not so much. Beckham, yes. Chris Henderson, yes. Don Garber for figuring out how to do things three-dimensionally. Jorge Mas, it's like, now, Jorge, what you need to do, you just need to pay that. That's what you're staring at. And Abby, I think you're spot on. I think that to the Gressel discussion, I think he would take whatever to say he's back with Tata, no doubt. I think that's the way it lays out. Do you want to be here? What is it worth to you? So that's what you're looking at when it comes to the possibility of Julian Gressel making his way down. It would not be for the salary figure that he currently has. No, not at all. 4 card. It's Messi's league now, and we're all just the Washington Generals. Well, 4 card, we had this, we were kind of talking about it yesterday. The way I would look at it is like this. I mean, early on in the year, they were just gangbusters. They were, beating everybody. They could be had, but you had to be clinical and you had to lock things down. Late in the year, Messi gets injured. Ain't the same. So think about a Messi absence and what they would have to do without him. I mean, think about it like later in the year. Like I said, yesterday, what I said, and I still hold by this. I still hold by this. I think that that Messi and friends come out, they're going to put up a big number. They're going to come out of the blocks after this barnstorming tour, and they're going to try and get as many points as humanly possible out of the blocks as they can, and then try to hang on to what they've accomplished early on in the season as we get later and later in the year with international breaks, with tournaments, with injuries, with unavailabilities for whatever reason, for schedule compression. I think early in the year, I think Inter Miami tries to put up a number, and they try to hang on. Then when we get later in the year, that's when everybody starts to catch up because, once again, you will have had guys who are north of 30 putting in a lot of minutes, and they won't be playing a lot of minutes late. So it's going to be up to the depth that Tata Martino will have with Messi and friends to try to salvage and hang on to whatever position they are in. We saw late last season when Messi and friends did not have Messi and they were just and friends, how different they were. Houston showed us how different they are. Houston went on to win a trophy. They showed us that they put out a blueprint. They put out the huddle film on Messi and friends. Emilio, Miami doesn't have to follow rules. They'll make it fit. It's a different set of rules. It's probably 2 or 3 sets. Hutch, someone needs to take out a contract on Father Time. Oh, that was great. David, yes, 10 minutes in, Sosa ended placement Tweedy's MLS career. Oh, it's one of the best hip checks ever, like a Pat LaFontaine hip check. Emilio, math doesn't work. What bothers me more is that other teams aren't able to do the same things. Or are we saying that Garth and other smart people are stupid to compete against it? No, I don't think you're saying – no, we're not saying that they're stupid to compete against it. You just compete in different ways. You don't have – with star quality as high as Messi and friends are, you got to be that imaginative to try to keep them to keep them as a part of the roster. Maybe you could with Thiago Almada if Thiago Almada continues his, run, and we're talking about things maybe 10 years from now, 10 or 15 years from now. Thiago Almada comes back. He's a massive star. Then you get the NIL deal here. Right now, you're dealing with accomplished players, young players, very good players, but they're not the seismic world event that Messi and friends are. Messi, Alba, Busquets, Suarez, Marcus Rojo. It's not that seismic. You're dealing with different levels. Compete in your own way, like I said. I think Houston gave us the huddle film. The Houston Dynamo gave us the huddle film about it. Hutch, the word impressionante was dedicated to Messi back in 2013. So what does it mean? The perfect way to play football, an unlimited ability to self-improve. 2, describes the best player of all time. Yeah, it does. Impressionante. I have to remember that. Abby, this is why we need someone who loves soccer as head of MLS. Time for a new person. Abby is done with the soccer don. He's looking at it as a business. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. That's what Lionel Messi is. That's what Jordi Alba is. That's what Sergi Busquets is. That's what Luis Suarez is. They are a business man trying to come up with different ways to go about things. You've got to think outside the box in situations like that. You want to attract someone the level of a Lionel Messi, you have to think outside the box. And you did that with your corporate partners. Hats off. Tip my hat to you. You found a way. Not every team can do that. It would have been interesting had Sporting Kansas City been able to pull off CR38. Remember all the Cristiano Ronaldo talk where he has the discussions with Patrick Mahomes about, hey, how do you manage here? Yeah, you can have a life. They kind of leave you alone because you're in Kansas City. Had Sporting been able to pull off Cristiano Ronaldo, makes you wonder what that would have been like. That might have been the first outside-the-box three-dimensional NIL deal for Major League Soccer had that been pulled off. Instead, it ends up being the nemesis for CR38, Lionel Messi coming to Inter Miami and turning into Messi and friends. But it would have been really interesting to see what they would have done if Cristiano Ronaldo was really serious, like serious about Sporting Kansas City. That would have been the interesting part for me. What were those bells and whistles that were possibly, probably, maybe thought of and or promised in all this kind of stuff? So keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, how many more creative deals can we get? How many more seismic stars? Well, at forecourt, I think that it was either the statute of limitations or they actually did agree to a settlement. One of the two. It was close, but I think that they had agreed to something to put the court case to rest. I think that he would have been back in country and it would have been okay. I know that we were all talking about him coming into country and then it being a very short visit, but I think that was taken care of. I think the timing was there where it was taken care of. So, once again, we'll keep an eye on three-dimensional deals and what happens in Major League Soccer. All right, let me go through and see what you guys put in. All right, we got KFC stuff. Remember, today and tomorrow, I need your good, your bad, your ugly, your indifferent, your best ofs, your worst ofs. Nothing about 24. That's next week. When we do Monday on a Tuesday and work forward next week, this is all about looking back. I need your highlights for the year. Could be about your favorite team, could be about national stuff, could be about events, could be about people, all that. I need what you're going to carry with you from 2023 today and tomorrow. So if you instantly can think about it, put it in the Twitch pitch. We'll talk about it. If you think about it and you put it in the Twitch pitch tomorrow, just as well. So once again, all the stuff that you're going to carry with you from 2023 going forward. Hutch, MLS should allow division by 0 to make some of these incentives more attractive. Oh man, you guys are on a roll this morning. I give you absolute full credit for being on a roll. I'm trying to see if anybody. Okay, Niall, Thiago Almada had a remarkable season. My big takeaway, probably one of the best players I've ever watched live. And it's been fun to see. It's been fun to see Thiago Almada continue to evolve and see where he is right now as a player, and that growth curve and the ceiling and all that stuff. Looking forward to seeing that. Also, we got gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We talked to, since we're on a gossip, rumor, and innuendo riff, we'll go ahead and go there, and we'll do what's on the dais this morning and this afternoon. So Thursday gossip. As we start to get into hour number 2, I promise I'll take us to 06 or 07 to make up for the fact that I was firing off an email at 9:05 this morning. Newcastle confident they can agree to sign a deal with Calvin Phillips from Manchester City, but face competition from Juve, Everton, and Crystal Palace. The Glazer family will have to pay Sir Jim Ratcliffe up to $66 million if they terminate the deal for his Ineos group to buy a 25% stake in Manchester United. That's from Miguel Delaney and our friends at The Independent. Why you would terminate the deal because you're getting money, and that seems to kind of drive the Glazers right now. Why would you peel back the deal? As a part of the deal, Ineos also have to be consulted about any moves. We talked about this yesterday. It was in the fine print. About any moves by Manchester United in the January transfer window, and manager Erik ten Hag cannot be sacked without Ratcliffe's involvement. That's from the Evening Standard. And Ratcliffe has outlined an 8-year plan to improve the club's Old Trafford home from our friends at Football Insider. Granted full sporting control. Put aside £250 million to be invested into infrastructure. Senior figures behind the takeover believe the expansion or redevelopment of the stadium will take up to 8 years. Once again, choosing if you have to build a new Trafford, because a lot of folks are saying Old Trafford's right at the edge of its born-on date. Ineos want to expand the capacity of Old Trafford to 90,000, but the construction of a new stadium has not been ruled out if it's deemed to be more cost-effective. Building a new stadium would allow United to continue playing at Old Trafford during the construction process, whereas expansion could see the team rebased for up to 2 years, and I don't think you want that. New stadium would cost close to $2 billion. United posted record-breaking match day revenue, £136.4 million. Sir Dave Brailsford, Ineos director, present at the win on Tuesday over Villa, leading the review of the club. So they're looking at like an 8-year plan. Okay. But I think that if everyone is looking at Old Trafford right now, and saying that it's on the edge of needing to be replaced, that's probably where you need to go. Shiny new building, 90,000. Looking at pictures in and around the facility, you might be able to buy some of the land off to one side towards some of the hotels and the water. But yeah, you're gonna have to. It's gonna have to be like when White Hart Lane was being torn down, and you're building the stadium while still at White Hart Lane for Spurs, and you're building the stadium right next door. Those kinds of things. I think that's what you're gonna have to do. But a lot of folks are sitting there saying born on date is done there for Old Trafford. Abby, to answer your question, do we know what MLS's cut is from ticket sales? I do not. Let's see if the Google machine can help us out here. Let's see if MLS cut on ticket sales. Posted that, and let's see if we can come up with something. Early access codes, purchase threads, canceled tickets, canceled ticket chaos, mangles the rollout. And a lot of it has to do is what is MLS cut on ticket sales. Let's see if that helped out. No. Okay, I might be using the wrong search terms. But as of right now, no answer. Minnesota United has loaned Ethan Bristow to Stockport County. That'll solve their problem. Morning, OG. We've had a very busy morning discussing transfers, Messi and friends, looking after Polish teams and defensive midfielders. Bartosz Szliz from Legia Warsaw to be paired with Steen Gregerson from Bordeaux. Those are the two guys that we're keeping an eye on overseas as we get closer and closer and closer to the window. David, if they want to incentivize owners to build their brand / be winners, they would let them keep most of the ticket and merch money with an Apple / full league TV deal. Like I said, I don't know what the cut is. It would be interesting to find out, but I think the stuff with Lionel Messi specifically had to do with Apple TV hitting metrics, getting numbers there, Adidas helping to pay for it, and so there were ways that didn't have to do with folks walking in the door, but of course walking in the door helps you pay the salaries of the folks that you're bringing in. Like I said, I don't know what the cut is for Major League Soccer when it comes to the daily ticket through the turnstile. That I don't know. Hutch wants to know, any idea what season pass will cost next season? Do not know that right now. OG may seem minor, but her favorite thing from the season was the 404 kit and changing the goal celebration to BOB. That, and I like the 404 kit. I legitimately like the 404 kit. I know that it was it was hot and cold. But I like the 404 kit. The boss loves the 404 kit. And the fact that it got us all going back to BOB for the goal celebration, that to me, I'm with you, OG. Like I said, it may not necessarily, it may be minor, but I think that it goes back to, once again, and if you missed it when it was produced, go back and watch the documentary that was put together by Atlanta United about the early sounds in that era and all the folks that they brought in to help out with that. It's amazing stuff. But yeah, it all linked us back to all of those early. I think it was better in the 404. I think it was. I think the kit was better in the 40. The record was better in the 404 kit. But yeah, it reminded us about where we've been and where we've come from. So very, very cool. Niall, one of his favorite things in 23, Wiley letting Mbaizo know what the score was. Yes, I'll agree. That was hilarious. And to have a 19-year-old sit there and stare at Olivier Mbaizo and go, scoreboard, that was cool. Absolutely cool. And it reinforces that Caleb Wiley, he's ready. He's been ready and not intimidated by anything. Very, very cool. Kefsey, down on the BOB goal celebration. Absolutely. Now, if we could only get Outcast to hit the golden spike, that would be awesome. We got to work on that. Work on the golden spike. Just Outcast, you do BOB and the whole thing, flashing back. That'd be epic. I'd love that. So, we got that possibly to look forward to. Yesterday, also, we got through gossip, rumor, and innuendo. What to watch and where to watch it. It's like I'm all over the place. It's like, what was I talking about? I know that shocked you. Let's see. Soccer on TV. All right. So Tuesday. What is this with the 13th and the 14th and everything? What is this? I'm sitting here looking at articles, and I'm like, what? It's like, wait a second, y'all. My account, correct. Yes. No, I don't need to reset the password. That's just weird. Okay, that wasn't what I was looking for. All right. So my account. This is just crazy. All right. No. I'm already subscribed. I'm a member. Log in here. It's like you're trying to. All I want to do is sit there and look at what's going on. I'm not asking for much. Yes, OG, you are correct. Caleb Wiley is a grown-ass man. That is absolutely accurate. Without question, he is a grown-ass man. I'm signing in using a password. Come on now. This is just getting out of control here. All I want to do is look at my schedule. I'm not asking for much. No, that's not cool. That is absolutely not cool. This is what happens on live radio and live TV when things don't work. All I want is to look. Thank you for signing in. Yeah, no kidding. I'm subscribed, people. I'm subscribed. Where's my news? See, now this is out of hand. Anyway, all right. So we'll figure out what to watch and where to watch it later. We'll do juice boxes in the, nothing like two separate places sitting there and questioning what's going on. Well, Abby, I'm trying to do things here, and you got a tab open, and then the tab misbehaves. I was trying to sit there and go, all right, what are we going to watch today on TV? That's where I was going. And then trying to sit there and click on Soccer America like I always do. And Soccer America's telling me I need a pro membership, which I've already got. I'm trying to figure things out here. You click on a tab, it's supposed to behave, and it doesn't behave. But no, biggest things, like I said, today and tomorrow. Memories of 23. What will you carry with you? Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, overachiever, underachiever, all these kinds of things. That's the big element to go with all the news that's going on. Yesterday, Manchester City beats Everton to move up to fourth, but they also have a match in hand. They close that match in hand. They're 2 points out of the lead. So a lot of folks were wondering. Sean Dyche says that the goal, that the handball rule is confusing. Then fix the rule. Basically, that's it. Fix the rule. If you got a problem, fix the rule. Other things going on in other papers with gossip, rumor, and innuendo and things left unsaid. Once again, as we avoid the 3 and the 4 letter paper, as we always try to do. According to our friends at the Daily Telegraph, Newcastle once again stepping up interest in Calvin Phillips, viewed as a top priority for Eddie Howe's team. I would say yes, because he's healthy. Not getting a whole lot of minutes at Manchester City, so that would help out. And this will also be, according to folks, how much support Eddie Howe actually gets. That's the biggest thing. How much support is Eddie Howe going to get? He needs a lot of support in this window. So what are we staring at here when it comes to this window in particular and what you're going to get if you are Newcastle? That's what you're staring at. That's the biggest question right here. How much support is Eddie Howe going to get? Jack Harrison in great form. Foden was shot with. Yeah, it was. Absolutely. Everton had a 1-0 lead, and then Phil Foden comes back and just absolutely just destroys a ball. And then that kind of tilted the field a little bit. World Athletics promised not to strangle innovation after forming a special evaluation team to work with companies like Nike and Adidas, whose new super shoes have transformed endurance running. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, Ineos and the Glazers have agreed to avoid criticizing each other in public as a part of the deal. We're not going to criticize you in public. I know a lot of folks would like to criticize in public. Set to culminate with Jim Ratcliffe taking control of the 25%. They think it's probably going to take another month. UEFA has demanded the European Court of Justice amend its press statement on the European Super League decision, with senior figures believing the release was enhanced to make the ruling sound more titillating. What? I've got to check this out. Okay. Once again, this is where we are with gossip, rumor, and innuendo this morning. You sit there and it's like, all right. You have to change your wording. Change your wording on your release. Child, please. Change your wording. I'll change your wording. So, of course, the article that I want to show, it's like, come on, all I want to do is just read the article, you know? Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the headline from the Times. There you go, Abby, nicely done. She got her FSU Women's Soccer National Championship shirt. Nice. And so apparently they sexed it up to gain attention. They sexed it up. Of course. You got a press release, and we're going to sex it up. Sure you are. All right. Good to know. Let's see. The Independent, right, they're going to have to pay $66 million if they terminate the agreement, avoiding the 3-letter paper and the 4. Some within the organization believe the inaccurate release was drafted to make the ruling appear more riveting. Bayern Munich reportedly ready to make an opening offer for Rafael Varane. Karim Benzema has appeared to delete his Instagram account. What is the world going to do? Karim Benzema is no longer on the gram. Staggering 76 million followers. Jesse Lingard has been offered to several clubs in France, but any move could reportedly be scuppered. That's the word from our friends at Sky because of Brexit rules. Andre Onana's feud with Cameroon legend Samuel Eto'o and Rigoberto Song is showing no signs of healing. Remain doubts if he will return to international duty for AFCON, even if he's selected. Liverpool's pre-Christmas clash with Arsenal provided record-breaking viewership in the United States. 2.28 million people watching the game across Peacock, NBC, and Telemundo. John Terry has tipped 20-year-old defender Alfie Gilchrist to be the next academy star to impact the Chelsea first team. Bernd Leno is going to escape punishment from the FA after following his altercation with the ball boy in the loss to Bournemouth. Guinea star Morley Sila has been omitted from their AFCON squad in the aftermath of a row with teammates and manager Kaba Diawara, who he accused of stealing a shirt given to him by Vinicius Jr. after the nation played Brazil over the summer. Daily Mirror, Xabi Alonso will not be doing his old club any favors. He's ruled out allowing Reds defensive target Piero Hincapié to leave Bayer Leverkusen in January. Liverpool will not be pursuing a January move for Fulham fullback Anthony Robinson, amid reports they wanted the U.S. international to provide cover for Robertson and Costas Tsimikas. The Athletic, Everton are not expecting a busy transfer window as they continue to prioritize, quote, financial prudence, end quote. Manchester City's Pep Guardiola hopes Erling Haaland will return next month from a stress injury in his foot. RB Leipzig have confirmed the signing of midfielder Elgif Elmas from Napoli, and Alexia Putellas has undergone surgery on her knee. No word on a return. Daily Express, Manchester City reportedly considering a move for Bayern Munich star Joshua Kimmich in the January window. Harry Kuehl edging closer to being appointed as the new boss at Yokohama Marinos. Celtic fullback Greg Taylor says the first-team squad will get a massive boost when Reo Hatate and Liel Abada able to return to action, which should happen soon. Okay, Ben Jacobs doing the Lord's work. Martin Ziegler revealed. Letter points out release stating FIFA, UEFA are abusing a dominant position does not reflect the ruling. The press release is termed inaccurate and contradictory to the judgment. The letter also points out that the European Court of Justice can't decide the case. Their ruling is referred back to the original judge. The letter states the press release must, quote, faithfully reflect the actual content of the judgment because they are the focal point for media attention. The letter closes asking for the press release to be amended so as to reflect accurately the judgment of the court. So that's where we are. Finally, figured out what they were saying. So apparently Abby yesterday, while in South Florida, drove by DRV P&K and hocked the loogie. You probably are not the only one. All I can hope is that you stopped the car if you did that, Abby, because traditionally, if we're driving by something, and if we don't get enough loft, it ends up sticking to the car. Like if you're pouring something out the window, all of the aerodynamics, it sticks to the left-hand side of the car. I'm hoping that there was enough aerodynamics to where it launched toward the stadium itself and did not impact either the Abstermobile or the car that you were in there in South Florida. So, well done there. Other stuff going on. Yes, absolutely. You have to point in the direction of the airflow. That is absolutely correct. Yesterday, Wolves beat Brentford 4-1, and Brentford is right now in a world of hurt. I think they've lost 6 of their last 7. And Huang with a double, Mario Lemina in the 13th. Huang got his first in the 14th. Brentford made it 2-1, then 2 other goals. Huang and Bellegarde made it 4-1 yesterday. So Wolves with the big win yesterday. Chelsea beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Madueke's late penalty gave them the win there. And that was the main action yesterday. Don't know if you saw this. Tony Blair from Shane Harrison at The Guardian. Tony Blair was keen to relocate Wimbledon FC to Belfast in the late 1990s. He thought the move would be excellent, but Northern Ireland Secretary Mo Mallon was skeptical at the time. State papers released. Tony Blair had proposals, and he backed them to move the team to Belfast. Previously confidential state papers included a note from 1997 described as following up earlier informal discussions about the possibility of an EPL football club relocating to Belfast. Mooted that it would come with a principally private sector-funded, modern 40,000-seater sports stadium, potentially an academy for sport, located on Queen's Island in East Belfast or in the North Foreshore. At the time, Wimbledon was ground sharing with Crystal Palace, looking for a site to build one of its own. After Hillsborough, the Taylor Report recommended top-flight clubs remove standing areas from stadiums. The state papers indicated the possibility of the Dons moving to Belfast was discussed at the highest levels of government in 1997 as part of proposals for a national stadium in Northern Ireland. Suggested the club could be renamed Belfast United. So those papers from 1997 showing that. Mikel Arteta is now the 7th longest tenured manager in the Premier League. He says, yeah, I'm getting old, aren't I? We've been following this story. Ed Aaron's Romain Molina, former Afghan international given a lifetime ban from football, has claimed he was forced by his coach and the president of the country's federation to send emails to a notorious match fixer in an attempt to arrange the results of matches. Mohammed Salih's Rafael Kohistani has accused FIFA of dismissing his allegations that the former AFF president, Karamuddin Kiram, and his successor, Mohammed Kargar, who had previously 2 spells as coach of the senior men's team, ordered him to send emails to Wilson Raj Perumal to arrange the results of games against Nepal and Sierra Leone in 2008. Kohistani, one of 8 players found guilty of match fixing in 2019 by FIFA after an extensive investigation into a series of international matches that Perumal attempted to manipulate for betting purposes. He claimed that Kiram and Kargar were involved in the plot. So that's the latest twist in what's going on in Afghanistan. And like I said, we've been following that story. Christian Romero is out for a month, so Spurs are going to be needing some help. Hoyland admits relief after breaking his schneid. He says he's a happy man after scoring finally. Let's see. We mentioned, the Pyramid Rescue Package. I finally found that story. Tom Morgan at The Telegraph. Owners and club execs have grown increasingly unhappy in recent months over the overall cost subsidy to the EFL. Premier League has paused discussions over their long-awaited $130 million a year Pyramid Rescue Package because of ongoing divisions between top-tier clubs. Recent meetings have failed to reach a consensus over a final agreement, which would have seen the first checks handed over within weeks. The Big Six are disagreeing with their rivals over whether top clubs will be contributing enough to the bill. Clubs had voted remotely on various proposals in the week or so before Christmas. Richard Masters told the clubs privately he will pause further discussions with the EFL for the time being. Further delays leave the league vulnerable for fresh criticism from both the EFL and government as a new regulator for the game looms. However, remains hope within the Prem final differences can be resolved and agreement can be announced by the end of January. Telegraph Sport detailed a year ago how smaller clubs wanted the richer teams to accept a greater share of costs, potentially through a transfer tax. Several smaller clubs complain a sliding scale payment system based on merit alone would leave them paying a much higher proportion of their revenue in the solidarity pot. Manchester City could be paying as little as 2% of their revenue, which could be £15 million. And that figure is dwarfed by club revenues, soaring to £713 million, almost $100 million in the season before. Small and medium-sized clubs successfully argued then for income in Europe, particularly Champions League, to be part of the equation. Still a feeling the wealthiest teams could be paying more. I would ask as a part of that clubs not spend 120% of their revenue on salaries. Just saying. You have teams overspend, and then you have teams get in trouble. And it's not the first time that something like that has happened. I would ask for more financial prudence for the teams that are trying to find their way back into the Premier League. Unfortunately, there are a lot of times when you don't see that. Because right now, and before we get into the matches today, we'll get into juice boxes coming up in just a sec. Just look at the championship. Let's look at the championship for a second. You look at the teams in the bottom half. 24 teams in the league. Let's start at 12. Norwich, Middlesbrough, Blackburn, Swansea, Stoke, Huddersfield, QPR have all been in. So that's 7 of the 12 have all been in the Premier League within the last decade. You go north of 12, Cardiff's been in it, Watford's been in it, Hull City's been in it, but they're in 7th right now, just out of the playoff picture. Leicester, Southampton, Leeds, West Brom, Sunderland. 5 of the 6 have all been in short time. But 7 of the 12 in the lower half have been within the last decade, and they show no sign of getting back into the game. Financial prudence. We always talk to Jess about what's going on at Reading. Reading completely and totally overspent. They got in trouble. Now they got an owner that doesn't want anything to do with it, and he ain't paying the bills. And so they're stuck. The fan base is stuck. Bolton is in League One. Derby County's in League One because of points deductions, despite what Wayne Rooney did. Blackpool's in League One. Wigan, with a points deduction, is 4 points clear of the drop zone right now in League One. Reading is in the drop zone right now in League One with a 4-point deduction. 3 points from safety halfway through the season. Next time Jess is on, we'll talk to her about her ownership situation and what can be done. But yeah, the Premier League, Tom, to your point, very, very crowded. No real surprise. Look at 12th. You know, we always talk about like Group 2 and Group 3. The bottom part of Group 2, Newcastle at 29, Brighton and Hove at Brighton is at 27, Chelsea at 25, ahead of Wolves on goal difference and ahead of Bournemouth on goal difference. Bournemouth is in 12th, by the way. They've won 5 of 6. Fulham's at 21 points, and I guess this is the start of that third group. Fulham, 21 points. Brentford, like I said, they've lost 6 of 7. They're at 19, 4 points clear. Crystal Palace has not won. They only have 3 points in their last 6 matches. They're at 18 points. Forest won their last time out. They're at 17. Otherwise, they'd be in the drop zone. Everton has lost 2 in a row. They're now at 16 points. Once again, the 10-point deduction. If they didn't have the 10-point deduction, they'd be in 10th. Everton right now is in 17th, a point ahead of Luton. Luton's won 2 in a row. Burnley's at 11 points. Sheffield United's at 9. But once again, Luton at 15 is the top team in the drop zone right now. That's what you're staring at with all of the madness of festive fixtures, where we always sit there and we go, you know, frankly, this is that time of year where the teams that are at the bottom are the ones that are finding their way out of the drop zone. Just ask Nigel Pearson and Knicks about Leicester and what happened there with that big rush. Today, 2 matches in the Premier League. Brighton hosting Spurs, 2:30. Brighton is at a plus 141. Spurs are a plus 177. Your draw's a plus 291. Arsenal hosting West Ham at 315. Arsenal is a big number on the minus side at a minus 312. Draws a plus 484 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. West Ham is north of plus 850. And there was another story that I wanted to get into, and it has to do with Paris FC. Once again, it's from our friends at The Guardian. And I thought it was an interesting story. And Paris FC, and it's from our friends at Moving the Goalpost. Raphael Jacobin is in Paris. Paris FC on the women's side, since the start of November, all league games, men's and women's, attended free of charge until the end of the campaign. Charlotte Stadium, admission is now free. At the time, back in November, club president Pierre Ferracci described the initiative as an attempt to make football more accessible. Perhaps more pressingly, Jacobin writes, it's also seen as an answer to an operational issue for the club, low attendance. 20,000-seat stadium. Men's teams drawn around 4,000 spectators a game. According to Ferracci, the immediate losses would be around €1 million, 860,000 pounds. A figure he hopes to offset by bringing in new sponsors as well as increased sales of food and drink on match day. Scheme has drawn in new support. Not scheme. I know it comes across wrong, but scheme makes it sound like there's something untoward, but that's just the way it was written. Scheme has drawn in new support for both the men's team and the more successful women's section. 13,000 came to watch the men's Ligue 2 home match against Bordeaux in November. Stay dry, Abby. Thanks for coming on. The team's best crowd since 2015. The women's team are driving the push for new fans. The side was only fully absorbed by Paris FC in 2017, having previously won 6 league titles as UVC. Women's Champions League match against Real Madrid last week, early indication of the success. Just under 11,000. Well, it wasn't part of the free ticket initiative because of UEFA regulations. The cut price ticketing idea. 10,693, more than double what they got in the previous record. 10,000 people, a success for the entire club. So you have this idea by Paris FC to just open the doors. Tell you what, this is what's going to happen. We're going to open the doors. We're just going to go ahead and say, tell you what, y'all can come on in. And for the more successful women's side, they have drawn in a lot more folks than they had otherwise. It makes you wonder how many other times and other places you could do something like that and have the same kind of a result. Could you do something like that? And where could you do something like that and have the same kind of impact? Could that be something done occasionally here? And at what level could you do it here in the States? It's just a question that popped into my head when I saw the Paris FC element that was attached to this. Well done by our friends at Paris FC. Tom randomly says he started watching the $1 Billion Goal on Paramount last night. Highly recommend. R.I.P. Grant Wall, no doubt. That's one of the things that will stick with us, obviously, from 2023 is, still not having Grant Wall as a part of discussions. To have his voice and to have his presence attached to big events. It still at times feels, unreal that Grant Wall is not a part of things. And, you wonder who those individuals are that can help fill that void that is missed by having someone like a Grant Wall not a part of the discussion. So that was, and sadly, when you watch things like this, it makes you. I haven't seen it yet, Tom. I've literally been running around so much, I haven't had the chance to see it. But when you have someone in something after they're gone, I mean, the show is completed after a person passes. It's a little surreal to see that individual giving us their thoughts on a particular idea. And it's, like I said, it's surreal. It's sad. And you get the chance to remember why that person was as integral as they were to what they were talking about the whole time. And that's the part of it that kind of sticks with you the most, is that you wish that they were still here for a bunch of different reasons, obviously, but for the reason that it's there. And it's just it's disappointing. It's obviously sad on a bunch of fronts, disappointing on the others. And David says he thinks that SI replaced him with a chat bot AI writer. And yeah, David says there are idiots over there at SI. I mean, apparently there's been a lawsuit that was filed about having AI writers. I think it was attached to Sports Illustrated, if I'm not mistaken. And there have been instances where early on in the process where businesses and companies would have AI write stories instead of actual human beings. You would sit there and folks would read the story, and you're going, really? That was not written. The sentence structure is bad. The references are awful. And I think SI got raked over the coals for it because of what was going on. It's like, really? Yes, exactly. Hutch. Have your AI send an article over to our AI for review and approval. And I think it is. I think I saw it was last week that that human beings are taking businesses to task, specifically Sports Illustrated, over their use of AI writers. And it's just the stuff that was written, the wire copy that was written early on, shows that there is that AI's got a lot to learn. Let's put it that way. AI has a lot to learn when it comes to this whole process. So there's all of that that's going on. That I mean, legitimately, you're sitting there and it's like, really? Yeah. 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 I'm biting my tongue a lot. I'm really biting my tongue a lot when it comes to what is out there today. Really, biting my tongue. Brighton and Spurs are on USA at 2:30. Just as a reminder as to what you're looking at. Then Peacock on 3:15 for the others. Otherwise, it's a lot of college football today when it comes to what's on, where to watch it, and where to watch it on. Remember, we've also got actual American football coming up in a bunch of different places today. College hoops, you got basketball all over the place, high school hoops that's out there. Peacock, Fubo. Yeah, so basically it's the two things. Spurs and Brighton, NBC, it's on Universo and USA. West Ham and Arsenal at 3:15 is on Peacock and Fubo Sports Canada. So that's where we are. Tomorrow, as once again, as we look toward next year, it'll be the last show of this calendar year. And once again, we can't thank you guys enough for everything that you've been through us with. In late January, we start our 8th season of SDH on the morning show and the network in and of itself. We started out as an hour. And then it ended up that we initially thought that we were going to go to 2 hours. We just didn't know that it was going to be 6 or 8 months later, because of the demand and the interest of everything that is going on. And ever since then, we've been a 2-hour morning show, and we've expanded. We've got 1v1s and the network and the app and all these kinds of things, and we've got all you guys to thank. So it's been a fun ride and a tremendous ride. And season 8 of SDH and the SDH network starts in late January. But reminder today, we're going to start doing some things. We'll have some 1v1s up tomorrow and some specials. We catch up with our friends at UConn after the MLS draft, the super draft involving Atlanta United. We'll catch up with Sonny D'Alessandro, the owner of Tulsa Athletic. We're trying to track down our friends in Columbus at Columbus United. They now have a head coach when it comes to the NPSL season. So we'll catch up with them. And so we've got stuff that's kind of trickling through in the 1v1s that'll be there. And so access it as you always do. Tom, the biggest takeaway for me from the show so far was how the sport has fallen here in the 80s. I was in college, then the military, living in Germany for almost all the 80s, so I was very out of touch with what was happening. And, I mean, Tom, to be honest with you, for me, I had a gap too. For me, I remember Pele's last game with the New York Cosmos, and I watched it in the back bedroom of my grandparents' house, because my grandfather stared at me when I told him I wanted to see the New York Cosmos match with Seattle. And he looked at me like I had 3 heads. And then so I took the cue and I went to the back of the house and I watched Pele's last game. And of course, like when when we're growing up, our faces are right up there against the screen. And I remember Jimmy McAndrew getting his jersey. Remember that last game for Pele, and Jimmy McAndrew got his jersey. And I think it was like on ABC's Wide World of Sports or something. I think that was how it was packaged at the time. And then I drifted into indoor soccer and watched guys like Stevie Jungle, Stan Stamenkovic, Branko Iljevic, Kim Rontvid when the MISL was on USA. And that was where I went in. That was where I went. And in 1980, it was the Georgia Generals for me at Memorial Stadium. After the Chiefs had folded and some of the guys were still in town, they were part of the Georgia Generals, Star Spangled Soccer over at Memorial Stadium, which is now Halford Stadium in DeKalb County. And then from there, I went to the indoor game, watched it on cable TV, and I didn't get back into. I watched Open Cup and those kinds of things, but in reality, for me, it was just kind of there. Tom says the 5-0 friendly with England at the Coliseum with a few thousand people, all English, something I don't even recall. And, for me, I don't think I really got back into it until the Silverbacks, with the NASL and, enjoying that and watching it and all that. And then I got back into it in earnest when the four-letter had the Premier League contract. And it was the season where City won their first title in a long time. And it was the back and forth that day. And Aguero that day, that season. That was when I started watching it. And what I tried to do, and what I try to still do with folks now, with all of the involvement that's there, is I will try to, and I do this with the boss, I will break down soccer into SEC football. And I'll sit there and say, okay, well, Missouri's playing Alabama, it's in Tuscaloosa, and Missouri's leading. And that's how I break it down, and that's how I bring other people into the tent. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And with what we're doing here, with all the relationships that we've started and that we've solidified with, South Georgia Tormenta and all the teams here in the Southeast, and building the relationships and covering things and going places and doing live and doing games and all this kind of stuff. It's been really cool to see the sport grow, and to see the sport grow through the Southeast prism, and remind folks that it is, in fact, a universal game because of Chattanooga and Greenville and Charlotte and, Wilmington and Carolina and Statesboro and Charleston and Tampa and the NPSL with how it's growing, and the Gulf Coast League with how it's been growing, and all of that to show everybody, the Southeast. No, yeah, absolutely the Southeast. And that we've been able to cover it here on a daily basis with Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, and then USL Championship and League One and NPSL and college and high school and all this kind of stuff, to see where it grows and see how it has expanded. It's been really cool to see it expand to the places that it has, and to see it continue to grow. And that's the fun part. To see it grow and know that it is at the front of the growth curve, and to be able to do that here, it's been really fun. And obviously we'll catch up with Nico Moreno next week and get his thoughts on 23 and 24. But to be able to be a part of this, and that reminds me, also reminder, next week, starting with Monday on a Tuesday, we're starting with we're starting the second fundraiser for our friends at the Marshall Islands. We will have pictures of how you can help. The word pre-sale comes to mind. So we'll show you that on Tuesday, when Monday turns to Tuesday, when Monday is a Tuesday. And we'll show you that. We're helping out our friends from the Marshall Islands. We're still working on a couple of elements attached to it. But for those of you watching on the video version, think this. Think the stuff that's behind me and think the stuff that's off to my right. You can also pick up the Atlanta is American Soccer scarf. That is still here. And you can pick one of those up for $25 and $5. And that'll help out. That was stage one. The Marshall Islands scarf in and of itself for stage two, that's going to be Monday on a Tuesday. We'll show you what it looks like, and then pre-orders. And you can help out the friends from the Marshall Islands because they want to do something here in the States during college football season. They want to try to have a gathering and possibly some friendlies in Arkansas, up in the Four Corners, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, up in the Northwest Arkansas area in October. And so they're trying to figure out how they can do that. And you can help them out. And we will get into that specifically on when Monday's on a Tuesday next week. That'll be a part of starting off 2024. Once again, reminder, next Monday is Soccer Over There Marathon to start 2023. And if there's any particular episode you guys want to hear or just segments and things like that, we post the whole show. So basically, you can just have it on in the room the entire time. Or if you want to shuttle, you can shuttle. But usually it'll be every 3 hours, 9, noon, 3. You get 3 episodes of Soccer Over There on Monday to get you ready for 2024. And then Monday on a Tuesday, we'll get you ready and we'll talk about things. Windows will be open. The transfer and traffic and all of that stuff is going to be ready to go. Once again, Steen Gregerson and our new friend, Bartosz Szliz from Legia Warsaw. Legia Warsaw, a big dilemma for those of you that missed it to kick off the show. Bartosz Szliz, will he be a Legia Warsaw player in the spring? Long been of interest to teams outside of Poland. Trabzonspor. And Legia's gotten 2 offers for the defensive midfielder, Atlanta United and Lecce. Szliz is closer to the USA. Atlanta's emissaries even went to his matches in European Cups. Looking at a value of about €2.5 million for the 24-year-old. Don't know if Legia will let him go in the winter. Contract expires in a year, and he's ready to leave. From our friends at Mekziki in Poland and their writer, Tomasz Lodarczyk. Lodarczyk has 9 figures on the 280-character app. He's got like 133 or 163,000 followers. Bartosz Szliz, Steen Gregerson. Legia Warsaw, Bordeaux. Ekstraklasa, Ligue 2. Atlanta United, shopping in those other places. That's what they're doing. Everybody else is going to South America. Atlanta's like, tell you what, looks like we can catch a flight. We can go to Europe. We can catch that out. Folks that are playing in European competitions in Szliz. And so they're looking for experienced folks. Szliz is a D mid. Gregerson, remember, is a center back. Still looking to negotiate with Derek Williams. Nothing is official. They picked him up in re-entry. And can they bring in Derek Williams from DC United? I know a lot of folks remember Derek Williams from his time at Los Angeles Galaxy and the slide tackle on Andy Polo in Portland. But can Atlanta United sign Derek Williams? Nothing official yet, and probably not until after the first of the year when contracts expire. Last year, Derek Williams made $800,000 base. So if you bring in Derek Williams and you bring in another individual, you're paying 2 for the same price that you would be paying Miles Robinson at 1.4 using last year's numbers, according to the MLSPA. Miles Robinson's looking for numbers in the neighborhood of Walker Zimmerman, 1.8 base, $2 million compensation. It's 7 days are over, Amelia, but once again, we don't know what we don't know. They could have agreed to it, but you can't just you're probably not able to announce it until January 1st or later. And that's where it is. That's my gut anyway. David, can we vote on who to sign based upon how Mike Conti might come up with a goal call that brings me so much joy? I could go with that. I could see that. I could have that drop. I could go there. I could definitely see something like that. You're looking at you look at somebody like a Boom Yakamakis. See, now you're getting everybody's thinking caps on, David, because it's like, okay, so then who do you sign, and then what do you call it? Who do you sign, and what's your goal call? What's your goal sign? All right, Maverick, what's your goal sign? But yeah, Emilio, I think 7 days is over, but I just don't think you can announce anything until the window opens and the contracts officially expire, those kinds of things. So I think that if we had heard that they would not have come to an agreement, we would have heard they would have not have come to an agreement. So it's probably just making sure that you have to wait until you can be officially official before you can say something. David was also in Cleveland visiting family over Christmas. Got in a lot of Cleveland force talk with the family, the old Richfield Coliseum. Keith Furphy, Kai Hoskovy, Benny Dargle, and Andy Schmetzer. See, Keith Furphy and Kai Hoskovy, that's strong. Not to be confused with Kim Rontvid, who was in Wichita. I think he still is in Wichita to this day. Keith Furphy and Kai Hoskovy. That's strong. But yeah, David, if you're going to suggest that we sign folks and tie it to a goal call, I need the goal call. And I need to know the signing. That's what we need to do with that. That's what we got to figure out. And I think that Mike would approve. And I think that Mike would approve. You get Mike a good goal call. You get a guy that would fit. I think that would play. I think that'd be pretty cool, actually. If you could pair it with a goal call, then that would not be a bad thing. Let me check and see if there's any other possible gossip, rumor, and innuendo that's out there. A couple days ago, Orlando City rejected a loan offer from Blackburn for Duncan McGuire. Orlando has no interest in entertaining loan offers. 15-3 in 1,900 minutes for McGuire in his first pro year, won the starting center forward spot for Orlando City. Yeah, why? Is it Blackburn, and this might be part of the reason why Blackburn is where they are. Blackburn just comes knocking on your door. Excuse me, we'd like Duncan McGuire. Okay, we're listening. We'd like to loan him. We'd like a loan deal. What? Yeah, we'd like to have a loan deal with Duncan McGuire. Come back later when you're serious. Click. Thanks for dropping by. Merry Christmas. Close the door. Blackburn. We'd like to loan Duncan McGuire. For someone that was as integral as Duncan McGuire was, you're like, yeah, we'd like to get him on a loan, please. We'd like a loan, please. No, doesn't quite work that way. Note from Melanie Anzadeh, release of the game schedule for the 26 World Cup likely not coming out until January. No real surprise. You're not going to do anything over the holiday week. Host city committees briefed on their communications with FIFA, so they don't expect to see a match schedule until January, probably later in the month. Qualification for the tournament's going to take place in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, obviously. It's far from over. Match schedule would advance host cities' planning. FIFA did not immediately respond to questions about the schedule, stalled for several months, FIFA previously promising an update in the fall. Catherine Holland in KC says, I don't think they can push it back that much further. Host cities have impressed upon them that this is really impeding our ability across the board to deliver the way that we need to deliver. Constant contact with each other, the host cities in the U.S., weekly check-in calls. Officials recently came together for an all-host cities meeting in Mexico City. So, hey, what a surprise. There's folks that are like not communicating. Who knew? What a shock that you have something like that happen. I'm just stunned, the lack of communication, especially for somebody that you're still trying to figure out, and you're still trying to name a women's World Cup. They're still trying to name a women's World Cup, and for 27, and yeah, I mean, literally, I think that's all that needs to be said. You're still trying to name a women's World Cup site, but at the same time, you're kind of fiddling about with the men's side of things. Child, please. You'd like to think that something's going on. It's like, come on, man. Get it together. Get it together. Get together. Hey, something like that. But no, can't have that. So, checking other gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and seeing if there's anything else that we left on the table before we get out of here for Friday. And once again, for Friday, the homework assignment, let me know what's on your mind from 2023. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. Could be about your team. Could be about, somebody else's team. Could be about the national team. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. We're saving the 24 stuff till Tuesday on a Monday and beyond. So what's sticking with you from 23? Hutch. Yes, this is absolutely true. Last day of the year in month, day, year format, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is very, very, for those of us, that's not a palindrome, but that is repetitive. But, Hutch is always one of those three-dimensional thinkers with us, and he's laying those kinds of things out, and not necessarily a surprise that it would be something like that. Rangers are close to signing Fabio Silva on a loan. Joined him in 2020 for £35 million. He's been on loan at Anderlecht and PSV since his move to Molineux. Struggled to make an impact for the Premier League club. Well, yeah, if he's loaned out, then he's got to be making not much of an impact. Conversations with Rangers manager Philippe Clement plus the lure of European football were the key to deciding a move to Ibrox. And so, of course, this morning, before the show started, Fabio Silva posts an hourglass emoji with ellipses after it. Clement is keen to strengthen his forward line after injuries to Danilo and Kemar Roof. Link between Silva and the club, with incoming Ibrox director of football Niels Koppen previously signing him on loan at Eindhoven. According to reports, Celtic also keen on the striker, who's already visited Glasgow ahead of his move this time next month. So Fabio Silva possibly heading to Rangers. And City is closing in on the deal to pick up Claudio Echeverri. We talked about Echeverri yesterday. Deal with River Plate. They've told Sky, sources in South America, fee of €25 million, 21.75 million pounds, agreed in principle for the Argentine U17 captain. They've not made an official bid for the player at this stage, although a deal could accelerate once the January window opens. Once again, we talked about who's signed, who's out there, who's in play. Yeah, it seems like somebody's going here. That might be true, but until the January window opens, we can't sit there and say, yes, it's official. Echeverri, who turns 18 on January 2, is expected to continue his development at River Plate on loan for another year. Personal terms not expected to be a problem. Chris Wilder revealed he'll have more talks with club owner Prince Abdullah on Thursday about bringing in new players next month. Good luck, Chris Wilder. January transfer targets are experienced Premier League quality players ready to step straight into his starting lineup. That sounds to me like it's going to have to be loan deals. I mean, Luton picked up Andros Townsend and Ross Barkley And they've done wonders for Luton so far this year. Chris Wilder, these players have got to go into the first team, and there will be other players who are surplus to requirements who might feel a little bit hard done by and may not have had the opportunity that others have had. But we're in a period where you have to make quick decisions, gut reactions, gut feelings in terms of what you want the team to look like in those individual specific places. I understand it's going to be limited. You can't take a wrecking ball to it. But obviously, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done now, obviously going into the summer as well. That's optimistic. We'll be looking. It's been different from other windows I've been at this football club. When we've been successful, have to make sure we cover and give good competition for places. And I think now is the time, and I think Prince Abdullah understands that. He's talking about that if we do make those decisions, which still have to be made, that we bring players in who are going to be in the starting 11. So he's looking for starting players to come in for the team that is going to be last in the Premier League right now as we head to the new year. You're looking for starters. That's going to be a challenge. Sean Dyche has no desire to let any of his key players move in January. Yeah, makes sense. I guess that should get a duh for that lead. A lot of players have been catching the eye of folks outside of Everton recently. Amadou Onana among those being eyed up by rivals. Sean Dyche, quote, I think it's fair to say with a slim squad, you don't want to lose players. I don't think there's much reality in those situations. In one way, it's a backhanded compliment. I don't think there were too many talking about our players when we got here. Now they are. Isco has signed a new long-term deal at Real Betis until June of 2027. Done and sealed. It's not even a here we go. It is a done and sealed through 27. Man City loanee Joao Cancelo admits ease at adapting to Barcelona. He told one para one, I've always been a fan, grew up watching Barcelona play. It was easy to adapt because I really like the club. Really like the dynamics of the club. It's been easy. It's been very easy to adapt here. Fulham is receiving interest in forwards Vinicius and Muniz. Carlos Vinicius, Monterrey has made an initial approach to Fulham over Vinicius. Two clubs are interested in Spain. Atletico Mineiro have made a bid to sign Fulham forward Rodrigo Muniz. Cottagers understood to be considering the offer. Contract runs until 26. Fulham have the option to extend another year. PSG have booked medical tests for both Gabriel Moscardo and Lucas Beraldo. It would be 20 million euro, according to Fabrizio Romano, to Sao Paulo for Beraldo, 20 million plus 2 in add-ons to Corinthians for Moscardo. So keep an eye on those. Crucial month for Brentford, considering, like I said, they've lost 6 of 7. We talked about the blocking of Hincapie. Chelsea have completed a deal to sign Senegalese U17 midfielder Pape Daouda Diong, revealed 2 weeks ago. Turning 18 in the summer, become a part of the Chelsea project. Diong was at Stamford Bridge 2 weeks ago. I still can't get over the idea that the Glazers and Ratcliffe can't criticize each other. They agreed to a deal, and you can't criticize one another. You can't say anything about me publicly I don't like. Well, I mean, why would you jeopardize the deal anyway? So that's the fun part of that. Once again, tomorrow we'll get back to it. 9:05. Tom says, I wouldn't mind losing Onana with how good Andres Gomes has looked, being finally fit and getting an opportunity with Gay's injury. I mean, Tom, we talked about it this morning, and you had mentioned how snug it is at the bottom right now. I want to see how the weekend goes with festive fixtures so I can get a good gauge with how things look. But right now, I'd mentioned, and we'd all talked about it being 4 for 3. We thought it was going to be 4 teams in 3 spots. And right now, legitimately, obviously Burnley and Sheffield United have some work to do. Luton's got a match in hand. Remember, the Bournemouth match still was abandoned. They're going to replay it from the beginning. So Luton's got a match in hand. And you have, in and around Luton, basically 13 through 18 separated by 6 points. Fulham at 21, Brentford at 19, Crystal Palace 18, Forest at 17, Everton 16, Luton at 15. Get me through the end of festive fixtures, meaning Saturday, Sunday, not today's doubleheader. And I want to see where things stand from 13 on down. That's what I want to look at. And that, to me, is going to be one of the bigger storylines going forward. How does this look? True. And to your point, Tom, the table discussion vis-a-vis Everton is on hold until the appeal is sorted. I'm just saying right now, with how things stand, 13 through 18, it's 6 teams, 6 points. And appeals, we know that appeals are going to have to be done in short order too, and that deadline's approaching. But it's going to be really interesting for me. I thought it was only going to be 4 for 3. Right now, it is 8 for 3, and technically 6 for 1. If you put Burnley and Sheffield United to the side. I have always been someone who's been attracted by races at the top and races at the bottom. And frankly, as the season goes along, I'm more interested in the race at the bottom when it comes to promotion and relegation. 6 teams separated by 6 points for that top spot, the 18 spot, that last relegation spot. That, to me, is going to be the interesting part as we turn the calendar. So once again, put your thinking caps on for tomorrow. Once again, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, your highlights, your lowlights, overrated, underrated, all those kinds of things. That's what's going to be on tomorrow. Bring it all to the table, and we will discuss it one final day here in 2023. And like I said, we'll have some 1v1s that'll be posting. Get you ready for the network. Monday, we'll have the Soccer Over There marathon. Tuesday will be Monday on a Tuesday, and we'll get started on 2024. And like I said, end of January, we start season 8 of the SDH network, and we couldn't do it without you. I'll have something to show you tomorrow, too, as to how we doing. There you go. And Hutch, that is above my pay grade. I did get the boss a First Nations. I did get her a First Nations. What is it? It's a. I got her a big First Nations blanket. It was a blanket that was made by First Nations artists. I got her that for the holiday. Very, very cool stuff from the Anishinaabe. And so got her that for the holiday. Very, very cool stuff. And it's here at the house. But once again, thanks to all of y'all. And we'll do it again tomorrow, 9:05, and we will discuss things, get you out of 2023, get you ready for 2024. No 2024 talk until Tuesday. But we'll put a bow on 23 tomorrow, and we'll see what kind of fun we have. But once again, thanks to all of you guys for being a part of SDH and everything that we've been a part of so far and what we plan on being a part of in the future. Couldn't do it without you. So for everybody here at SDH who is not fighting a cold, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Thursday. Mucho Platiel, play it safe. It's the end of the show. Deuces, everybody. That means I can...